Good thing he doesn't train, huh?
Right.
Are we going live right now?
Okay, we're live. Welcome back to episode 2 of
Episode 2
Still
of
Unnamed
Still
podcast.
Unnamed. This isn't good. This isn't very professional, Harry.
Well, we'll live. But first and foremost, I think we are due a thank you for the response we received on our
Big response.
our first episode.
Big response.
I think neither of us really anticipated that. We thought maybe we'd get like 10, 20 views of people.
Yeah,
who were
literally.
just
No,
kind of,
I was expecting about 20, 30
yeah,
views.
but we
max.
ended up, last time I checked, we were on like
Haven't checked in a couple of
125
days.
or
Not
something
bad.
along those lines.
But it's not just that. It's not just the amount of people that actually went on it and viewed it. I think I actually had quite a lot of people respond and say they watched the whole thing. That's what shocked me more than anything.
Yeah.
And people I didn't expect.
Yeah.
People I haven't seen in about 10 years plus, and they were like they watched the whole thing and really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think it helped with the timing as well. People had a lot of time on their hands, tier 4 and things like that. So people were more inclined to watch it. So who knows? Maybe this episode will get 10 views.
No. I actually had a really good response from it. I don't expect episode 2 to have the same amount of people watching as episode 1 for sure.
No,
I think a
of
lot
course
of people
not.
are just gonna be checking it out. But as well, I think the people that did watch the full length, a lot of people wanted to see more.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, what happened with the first episode? It cut out. And it cut out when it was getting good.
Yeah,
It cut out when it was getting real good.
It did. We did have like 10, 15 minutes after that.
Yeah, I
where
think it was
we
about 10 minutes. It
getting
was about
into
10 minutes.
kind of more, I don't know, philosophy, psychology,
and
books and things like that.
things like that. And it was actually getting really. For me, I remember finishing. I was like, "Oh, that was good." We ended on a good note, and it got cut off. We had the audio, but not the video. So I was like, "What's the point?"
But yeah, the feedback was very motivating. It showed us we were on the right track with what we were kind of talking about, and people actually, there might be an audience for us out there.
Yeah.
Which
100%.
it's like when you embark on a weight loss journey and you lose 5 pounds in the first week. It's like, oh fuck, this actually works. It's incredibly motivating. It allows you to stick to kind of producing content because it meant that we really wanted to do the second podcast. We really want to do a third podcast.
I was already thinking as soon as I finished that first one.
Yeah.
I was thinking about the second one straight away, like literally straight away.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I enjoyed the conversation.
100%.
This is what I like about this podcast, that because we recorded one before that we didn't actually release because of the issues that we had with that. But what I enjoyed about it is that the conversation of a podcast between me and you is like we have conversations in normal, but I think this just makes it like 10 times plus because you have to be there in the moment. No checking your phones, no distractions, zero distractions. It's straight one-on-one chit chat, shooting the shit, and it's real.
Yeah, it's so intense as well. But like, this is the kind of shit that gets me fired up. Like having these conversations about X, Y, Z is super enjoyable. I'm super passionate about it. But moving on to kind of, I guess, the general theme of today's podcast, which is kind of going to be the year coming to an end. We're ending 2020, moving into 2021. So with that comes kind of reflection on the past year. Of course, we know what has happened in this past year, but we're going to try and skirt around that and see what lessons we can take from it, I guess, and then moving into 2021, how we can improve our goal setting abilities. So if we just kind of briefly look into 2020 first and foremost,
I was just about to say that. That's a good one.
What do you think? What kind of lessons have you taken from this year? Like, what have you learned? What are you going to take into 2021?
Well, first of all, you came super prepared. I'm honestly not as prepared as you, but which is good. Which is actually very good because today we were supposed to do this on Sundays, but I think it's good that it's not even a Sunday. But we're gonna bang this one out. So this year,
so 2020 was obviously a difficult year for a multitude of reasons.
Yeah.
What lessons would you
big
say
year.
you've taken from this year?
Oh, a lot of lessons. I think with the March Madness, I was starting to panic a lot, and it doesn't happen to me a lot. It really doesn't happen to me where I get anxious and I'm gonna get like, fuck, what's gonna happen? Da, da, da. I got like that, and I felt it for like a week or two, and then I thought, because that isn't me. It isn't me to be like, oh fuck, like what's gonna happen? Da, 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 da. And I think a lot of people are in the same situation, but this is rare for me to feel that way, where I actually felt anxious, like fuck, da 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 da.
Yeah, I would say.
But you know what actually happened? It just I think it was after even less than a week, to be honest. I was like, I think it was just a few days, and then I was like, let's chill out. You're not like this. This isn't gonna help. This is what went through my mind. I remember thinking, this isn't me. This isn't how I react. Like when the whole COVID thing was happening, they did the full shutdown in March. At the beginning, I was like, "Fuck, panicking. How am I gonna figure out rent with my friends?" I was living with my friends at the time. I was thinking, "How are we gonna figure this out?" And then after a few days, I was like, "Man, we got this. Nah, it's gonna be all right. We'll figure a way out." I think. And then you know what made me really comfortable was the fact that I think I was panicking, and I was like, all right, let's show a little bit of gratitude in the sense of there are people in much worse circumstances than I am. Like first and foremost, you have to realize that we live in a first world country. That's one thing that always comes to my mind. That's probably because I come from, well, my family's from Colombia, which is a third world country. So my perspective always like shifts back to that. It's like, all right, imagine you're in this situation and pandemic and whatnot, but you're in a third world country. Believe me, it's a different world to living in a first world country where you have furlough and whatnot. So imagine not having a furlough scheme and not having like that backup. Imagine having a family on top of that. Imagine you have like issues going on in your life. So I was like, in the broad sense of schemes, I wasn't in a bad situation. So with the first, I remember feeling, like, fuck, what's gonna go on? What's happening? But then after a few days, I remember just thinking, no, this isn't how we're going to react to this. No, we got to change this.
Well, I think
and then from there, it's been good.
An ability to adopt a very stoic mindset in the sense of you realized, like, when you're with your friends, what's the actual worst possible case scenario that's going to happen here? Yes. And you realize actually it's not all that bad. It's not like you're going to die. It's not like you're going to, you've always got that plan B of, you could go back to your mom's on this or that. Like the worst case scenario, facing up to that and realizing actually that's a really good way to kind of reduce your anxiety over the situation and realize it's not going to be all bad. But one thing you mentioned there was gratitude. And I think that's, for me at least, one of the biggest things that's going to come out of this year. We've had everything that makes us in the terms of the gym. Like, that's our job. That's a huge part of our identity as well, I'd say, taken away. You've had things that we enjoy, like going out to, to eat, going out to bars, going out to clubs even. We've had that taken away and just kind of...
We've been stripped. Yeah. We've been stripped bare.
But how much more grateful it makes you to be able to go to the gym. Like, that used to be such a second afterthought. Like, I can go to the gym. It's always going to be there. And then it gets taken away for 3 months. It's like, wow, I really love the gym. So now, anytime I'm able to go back into the gym, like... that will be such a great feeling. And the same goes for going out to restaurants. You're going to cherish it so much more. You're going to be so much more grateful. And even I'm just imagining when clubs reopen, whenever that day comes, like, it's going to be mental. Everyone is going to, like, I've heard even of people in their 40s who would never even have considered clubbing anymore, and now like, do you know what, I kind of want to go to a club now that I haven't been able to.
I've been non-stop thinking about taking you to a reggaeton night here in London. Oh my god, this has been on my mind for a long time. And this has been more on my mind during this pandemic. But I liked what you said about thinking about what's the worst that can happen. Yeah. I love that. You said before, I wanted to keep that in mind. I didn't want to lose track of that. Yeah. Because I think that was a really great point where you said, think about your situation. Just think, it gives you a lot of mental relief when you start thinking, all right. Here's the play. What's the worst that can happen? And this can come with a lot of things in life. It's like... This is going to sound a bit cheesy, but I remember when I first started at Fitness First on McCourt Road. And I remember starting doing the fitness classes. Yeah. This was a big deal for me. I was like, man, this is going to be like, it was something like new to me to do classes for a big amount of people. Like speaking in like public speaking. Yeah. And I remember thinking, all right, what's the worst case scenario? And if you think about it, really, there's nothing really that bad that's gonna happen. Not at all. And I remember and it happened, and it's with everything in life. You just gotta think, what's the worst that can happen? If I wanna try and set up a new business, what's the worst that can happen? Yeah. Oh, you fail, and then you go back to like what a lot of people will say is, I don't want to leave my job and my security to try something new. But then you ask them, what's the worst that can happen? Okay, it fails, but then you can always go back to that cushy job that you had.
But do you know what the huge limiting factor, especially with something like that, is ego and pride? Is people don't want to be seen failing. Because like that's a big one that stops people from starting their own business. They don't want people to see, Neil started his own business and then it failed. What a fucking loser. Whereas really the person who's making that comment is the fucking loser who never tried anything and has been comfortable for the whole time. It's like, you've got to go, just try it. Like Daniel said, what's the worst that can happen? That's a big Tim Ferriss and kind of stoic way of thinking.
You risk nothing, you're doing nothing.
Exactly,
Really
exactly. And you're gonna be so regretful in the future. Going back to 2020, another thing you mentioned was almost like a loss of identity, and that's something that resonated with me quite a lot. Like I said, we got stripped of kind of something that makes me in the gyms. I'm no longer able to do my job. I'm no longer able to train. And I definitely felt that sense of like, who am I? Like, what am I doing? Like, now I'm not doing this. Who am I? Which gave you a lot of thinking processes, a lot of time to think. And it was really tough. I think a lot of people will relate to that. So I just wanted to touch on that briefly as well.
Oh, no, 100% people are going to relate to this because I think, especially today and age, we have so many distractions, whatever it can be. It can be Netflix, it can be the internet, whatever, YouTube, you can go down rabbit holes. Whether it's gym, going out bars, drinking, this is all like form of escape, a form of escape. And now with all this pandemic, it's just forced us to boom. This is us bare. This is us in our room with nothing to do.
Yep.
All right, now I'm with me, and I'm with me with my thoughts and me. It's just me and me.
Yeah.
That's what it is. And I think that stripped a lot of people. And here's the thing: I've always been like a kind of person that's always been like, I've definitely. Like, not a loner, but more of an introvert. I'm comfortable being alone.
Yeah,
I'm very comfortable being alone, but I know a lot of people are not. And I think, like, you said this to me recently, where you said, what was it, introverts, like, you get energy.
Yeah, so introverts, I think it's from a book. It's not something I've read, so I'm probably misinterpreting this, but I believe introverts expend energy when they're with people, and then when they're alone, they're able to kind of regenerate that energy, and then extroverts the opposite of that.
See, I'd never heard that until you said that to me, and this is just like a couple weeks ago where they said this to me, and I was like, huh.
Kind of makes sense, right?
It makes sense to me. It makes total sense to me.
Another thing you mentioned about 2020 was kind of comparing it to third world countries and other situations that are far worse. Like, I think yes, it's, again, I'm acknowledging the fact that it's been tough. We've both struggled with it. Like, it's been fucking awful, but putting it into perspective, if you want to consider third world countries, but even if you want to consider like even our generation, previous generations in our shoes, so thinking about world wars, that went on for 5 years, wasn't it? That went on for 5 years, and that's got the potential of death, getting bombed. Like, you can't, that's almost incomparable. We've suffered, probably it's going to be about a year overall, maybe just over a year, that we're going to kind of have these restrictions. And it's this once in a generation kind of event. It seems like every generation has this, like, whether it's a world war, whether it's a Spanish flu, whether it's, for us, I mean, touch wood, hopefully it's just going to be a year of COVID.
Yeah, hopefully.
But for the large majority of people, they are going to be somewhat financially secure, and I don't mean financially secure in the sense that you're able to go out and buy Gucci or whatever, but financially secure in a sense you've got food, shelter, you can pay for your rent, you may have been supported on a furlough scheme, the government have been giving you money. Yes, the economy is in the shit, yes, all that, but let's really, what's the Dan Pena thing? You are but a mere fart in the wind in the grand scheme of the universe. No.
In the cosmos of time, you're nothing but a fart in the wind.
Yeah, and that really puts things into perspective. Nearly 8 billion people on this earth. You are so very privileged to be earning money for pretty much doing nothing if you're on a furlough scheme, a self-employment scheme.
Well, I think if you're lucky already that you are born and raised in a first world country, it's such a big advantage.
Yeah.
In the grand scheme of things, being born in the first world. And here's the thing: a lot of people don't really have this perspective, and it's not their fault, but I think I had this perspective when I was young, because I've been going to Colombia since I was a little kid.
Yeah,
I used to go every single year for 6-7 weeks every single year, and there you see real poverty. There you see the one memory that sticks in my mind in Colombia. I think this is in Cali, Colombia. I must have been maybe 7 years old. It will stick in my mind forever. It's being in a car with my family. And in South America, at each traffic light, there's always people like begging for money or trying to sell something like to make ends meet. Yeah, but then you see these people like they have their whole family on the side of the road there while they're hustling the cars trying to get money. And I just remember seeing this one guy. He had no legs, and he was coming along like asking for money in the middle, in between cars, on a skateboard with no legs. And this thing just stuck in my mind forever, because as a young kid you're like, why is this country like this? And then I come back to the UK and there's none of that going on. There's none of that extreme levels of poverty like that. So I think when I was younger, that gave me that kind of perspective to think, all right, this could be a lot worse if you're in this country.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people may be watching this and thinking, oh, it's easy for you to say you've got this positive mindset, but it's really not fucking easy for us to say and be grateful. Like, being grateful is I think it's almost like a skill. It's something you practice. It's something you actually work hard towards. And I say that as someone who, at the beginning of the year, maybe not even, it's sort of in the middle of the year, where it felt like crisis for myself. Like, I wasn't grateful for anything. I was annoyed. But at some point, it took a point for me to be like, no, it's easy for me to be depressed and to lie in bed and not take care of myself. You have to kind of grab yourself by the nuts and be like, okay, no, snap out of this. Like, in the grand cosmos of time, like, you need to be grateful, otherwise you're going to be sad. The hard option is being grateful. The easy option is lying in bed and feeling sorry for yourself. That's
so true. Back to one of our favorite sayings that we quoted in the last podcast.
Yeah, go for it.
Hard choices, easy life.
Yep.
Easy choices, hard life.
There we go. So the easy choice of feeling sorry for yourself
means your life is very hard.
I know, it's literally like 2 words you got to remember.
It's 4 words, and every time I fuck that one up.
So that's 2020. Let's kind of draw a line under that. Trying to look at it from a positive. So now let's move on to 2021. Like, obviously, New Year's resolution. It's very difficult to plan anything. Is the main obstacle I feel like people are going to run into this year. In the sense that, is it going to be a lockdown for 2 months? Are we going to be able to work? So in terms of setting goals, do you have any advices for people going into 2021, given that there's so much uncertainty? You know, it's possibly going to be 3 months. Maybe there'll be a summer. Maybe there won't be a summer. Can you use 2020's reflections to implement into your 2021 goals?
I think you have to bear in mind the situation that we're in when you're setting goals or you're setting your New Year's resolutions. You have to bear in mind the situation we're in, you know? You can't like I can't set a goal for January and say, okay, I got to make X amount of clients and because the gym's not even going to be open, more than likely. Really and truly looking at from now, because now we're in December, 29th, or was it 30th?
Today. Boris's announcement will be later.
Yeah, so either way, January doesn't even look like gyms will be open. So it's like, if I'm going to set goals for myself right now, it has to be in relation to what's going on around me. So for example, if I'm not going to be in the gym working, I'm going to have to be working outside. That's my goals would have to be related to that. So now for people that are going to set goals for the new year, fitness related, you're going to have to accept the fact that gyms may not be open in your area. Like, gyms may not be open. So what can you do? You can set physical goals, but it's going to be physical goals that you can do outdoors or indoors.
So one breakthrough I would say I had when facing this third lockdown, because I think this third lockdown is going to be incredibly tough for people, because the first one was like, yes, there was uncertainty, but it felt like we might get out of it quite quickly. The second one had a time frame on it. This third one just seems a little bit mysterious in the sense that we don't know how long it's going to go on for. It could be the duration of the first one, and maybe even longer. We'll see. But it's the third time we're doing it, so we've gone through it twice, and it's like, fuck, we're just exhausted now. But with that is, I was thinking to myself, okay, so what would I do differently going into the first lockdown? So if I had a future Harry telling Harry from before the first lockdown, okay, you're about to go into this lockdown, it's going to be 4 months, like what would you do at the beginning of this lockdown? that's the advice I'm now taking into this third period, into this new year. So for me, it was like, okay, so I know I can't work as to the full capacity I would like to be able to. Okay, that's a fact. I know that's not going to be a possibility. So, but what can I do? For me, it's going to be, I'm going to be able to study more. So I'm actually going to even go on another course just to try and almost live my life like a uni student and just have full-time study, and also building an online presence and trying to create more online content. Those are the things I can control, and we're ignoring the thing that is out of our control. So I think that main thing for me was like, what advice would I give to myself in the first lockdown? Because I think we're going to be in a relatively similar situation. So for people watching, maybe it's going to be like, oh, do you know what? At the beginning of the first lockdown, I really wish I had bought some gym equipment so that I could actually have effective home workouts. Or I really wish I had signed up to some online program, or I really wish I had signed up to some website that would help me to lose weight, and I had taken my nutrition really seriously, and I had done all this meticulously. That might be something our viewers might have thought at the first lockdown. So I think it's taking potential I'm reluctant to use the word failures, but potential failures from lockdown 1, potential missed opportunities from lockdown 1, and bringing them into this next period.
Yeah, what you have to do, especially for your workout regime, is plan for the worst and hope for the best. Yep, that's what we have to do right now. Yep. And I think this is actually a great opportunity for people to actually get into calisthenics. This is what I did with my client this morning. He's new to calisthenics, gymnastics rings in particular, and it's going really well. It's actually going really, really well, and it's early days, and it's going really well. So this could be a time for you to set yourself new challenges. So maybe you're used to working out in the gym with weights all the time. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's what that's your go-to. But you know, this might last another 2 months, 3 months. Yeah. Who knows how long this lockdown is going to last? Adapt. How can you adapt? Learning another type of training. Yeah. Which comes in perfectly for calisthenics. It really does. Because the only piece of equipment you really need are gymnastics rings and your own body weight. That's it.
And I promise you, like, you are 100% without a doubt in my mind not going to regret putting in the time over this next period. By the end of, when we come out the other side, you're either going to be regretful that you didn't start, or you're going to be annoyed at yourself that you didn't do it. Whereas you can take the easy, so the hard choice is starting, doing it, and then by the end of the lockdown, you're going to come out with a new skill, you're going to come out stronger, you're going to come out in a better mental state. Or you don't do it, and look what happens. You spend, let's say it's 90 days, 60 days, 90 days. You spend 60 to 90 days suffering with your mental health and not improving and not working towards a goal, which I think a lot of people struggle with before, is that lack of goal setting in the first period.
And here's the thing, like, especially during lockdown, having your work, if you're working from home and staying in shape, it's hard work. Mm-hmm. It's not easy. What we're asking you to do is not easy at all. It's hard work. If you're going to be working from home, and then you need to work, and then you need to, you got your family things, and then you need to be healthy as well. It's not easy. These aren't easy things we're asking you for you to do. But it's like we said, if you pick the easy choice of just working and just sitting back, laying back, getting lazy, you're gonna suffer. You're gonna suffer. Maybe not right now, but 1 month from now, 2 months from now, you're gonna see the results of what you're doing today. Mm-hmm. So what we're saying is, pick the hard choices. Yeah, pick the hard choices.
And that's, again, that goes
back. But you have to be mentally prepared for the fact that it's gonna be hard.
Yeah, it requires discipline, and that's a very stoic way of thinking, and it's why I encourage everyone to kind of read up and get into stoicism to an extent. I would say another really important thing, especially when we're talking about home workouts, is creating the environment. So if you are doing everything in one room, let's say you've got your living room and that's where you're doing your work, that's where you're eating your meals, that's where you're this, I would suggest, if you can, separating, this is the area of the flat or house that I study in, this is the area of the flat or house that I eat in, this is the area of the flat or house that I work out in, and creating an environment that's why I encourage to get a little bit of equipment as well, because it just gives you less of an excuse to kind of skip that. Okay, even if you've got a tiny little flat, whether it's using the hallway, whether it's using the outdoors, that's your workout area, creating an environment is going to make you far more likely to actually do it, rather than if your workout environment is right next to the sofa where you relax.
So what's your suggestion to someone, let's say they live in a tiny room and they don't have a living room or anything?
Like me.
Yeah. No, but you got some space here.
Well,
so let's say even smaller than yours.
Even smaller than this.
What would you suggest to someone? What are you gonna tell them?
You've got other options. Like, you'd have to consider.
And they have no equipment right now.
Yeah, you'd have to consider outdoors. Obviously, right now it's like, I think today is about 3 degrees Celsius, so that is a bit of a limiting factor. It was 1
degrees when I was outside in Primrose Hill this morning.
Yeah.
1 degrees. And my client, fair play to him, he came out. He only works out in the mornings, and he loves it. He likes it. I like it too. I can't work out in the evenings. I have to work. I have to work out in the mornings. That's how I am and how I always am. For some reason, I find it hard to train after I have lunch, or even if I after dinner workout. Forget about it. It's not happening. It's not happening. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I might be, years and years and years of into fitness and whatnot. It's not happening after.
But let's jump off on that as well. Like, we'll come back to what I would do, but planning a certain time for you to do your workout, actually scheduling that in, that goes for even, whether the gyms are open or not, having, okay, I'm going to work out at 7 a.m. or I'm going to work out at 12, I'm going to work out at 8, knowing where you're most likely to stick to it. Like you said, it's not happening if you've had dinner. Like, after dinner, for me as well, like, I have dinner, then I do my pre-bed wind down, like whether that's an hour of just watching shit TV or whatever, then I go to sleep. Like, that's my routine, that's my pattern. If I have dinner, my body's automatically, like, the nervous system's already saying, like, okay, next step is relaxing and next step is bed. Whereas in the morning, like, similar to you, I'm much more alert, I'm much more kind of willing to do things, so I'm more likely to train in the morning. So blocking out your time, finding where you're most effective.
So if someone's new to exercise and they it's 2021 and they want to get into exercise, where would you start them off?
Walking.
I'm
a big one on walking.
Me too, mate. Me too.
So step tracking. Get yourself. I know it can be an investment. You can even use your phone. All the iPhones have the health app where you can track your steps.
I'm on 5,000 steps today, actually. And it should be probably 8,000 because I only started tracking like after my session.
There you go. So it's
and it's 10 a.m.
It doesn't even need to be like, oh, I'm gonna hit 10,000 or I'm going to hit 15,000, I'm going to hit a certain amount. It could be something as simple as, I'm going to go for a 30-minute walk, I'm going to go for a 40-minute walk. What's going to happen? You're going to be getting your ankles, your knees, your hips, your shoulder joints all moving. That's going to create more synovial fluid within the joints. That's going to make the joints feel more lubricated. You're probably, depending on your fitness level and depending on the speed you're going to be walking, you're going to increase your heart rate, which is going to improve potentially your cardiovascular system depending on how high your heart rate goes, but it's also going to improve calorie burn. Not to mention the mental effects that walking has. Whether you're listening to a podcast, which is what I'm on at the moment, is a lot of podcasts, filling my ears with good stuff that's good for my brain, well-being, whether it's listening to music, your favorite type of music that puts you in a great fucking mood. Then you're exposed, let's say you go for the walk in the morning, you're exposed to sunlight. That's going to kickstart your circadian rhythm. It's going to improve your sleep. Whether you do your walk in the evening, it's going to get you out of that house environment you've been working in all day, and it's going to give you a little bit of headspace. I know it's really cold, but just do it and trust me, you'll feel so much better and you'll be able to sleep much better as well. Again, you're getting that calorie burn, you're getting that heart rate up, but most importantly, you're taking care of your mental health and you're able to improve your sleep as a result of that, as well as other things like digestion and just overall health.
I like that. That was a lot. But like everything you said, I love it. Everything you said, I love it. But the main thing I loved about what you said, when you said walking, the main thing I love when you said walking is that a lot of people will find it tough to like let's say they go from doing nothing for let's say all year they've been doing nothing, and then they're like, okay, let me sign up for this program, and then this online coach or someone puts them on a program that's just way too tough for them. Mm-hmm. Walking would be perfect for them as a starting point, because if you go too overboard at the beginning, you'll burn out. That's why walking is a great baby step into more intense exercises.
Yep.
And another great thing about walking and getting yourself into the habit of walking, this is going to be a key one, getting in the habit of walking. If you can commit to walking, let's say 4 times a week at the same time, let's say you pick, all right, I'm going to go for a walk at 7:30 every morning, whatever, Monday, Tuesday,
Again, back
Thursday, Friday, yeah? Let's say you schedule it in. So Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, just a half an hour walk. Once you've done that for about 2-3 weeks, it's going to start feeling normal. At the beginning, it's going to be like, okay, this is a bit tough, blah, blah, blah. Then it's going to start feeling more normal. And then once you really, all right, this walk is easy, that's when you start stepping it up, stepping up your training. And that's where the results will come.
Yeah,
I like it that you said walking.
The old
actually.
adage.
I didn't expect you to say that.
The old adage goes, walk before you can run, right? But what do most people do? Oh, I want to get into exercise. They haven't walked for, they haven't gone on significant length walks, but they go straight into running a 5K. It's like, what are you doing? Like, your joints are not ready for this. Your body is not conditioned for this training. So, but people want to run before they can walk. Always. And that goes the same, like, not just walking and running, but programs like you mentioned, you're going to feel beat up. You're going to feel, movie recorded has been stopped automatically. Bear with us. We will be changing the SIM card.
Mate, I don't know where it cut out. I feel like it might have cut out 2 minutes ago. Either way, we'll just keep going with where we're at.
We're back. We were saying
talking
walk
about
before
walking,
you can run.
baby stepping, habits.
Don't throw yourself into the deep end when it comes.
Oh,
to
have you seen
programming.
this couch to 5K?
Yes, I am.
It's actually pretty good.
Yeah,
it's actually very good. I didn't know about it until one of my clients told me about it. I was like, okay, well, let me check this out.
Yeah,
it's pretty good actually. It's very smart.
It's a great way of getting into running. So anyone that is trying to get into running, I'd suggest first of all getting into walking first, and then getting into couch to 5K, because they do kind of hybrid it. They'll do like 30 seconds of running followed by a minute
like
of walking.
5-minute walking, then you do 5-minute jogging, and then 5-minute walking. At the beginning stages is very much like that. But I think it's actually a really good way.
Yeah.
When I saw it, I was like, this is what people need, because, like you said, most people go from they see a video on YouTube and they're like, I'm getting in shape now. Oh, this guy's running 10K. Okay, I can do 5K. I'll start on 5K. But 5K is a lot. 5K is no joke. 5K is not a joke at all. 5K is brutal.
So I like this kind of idea. I've got a 3-tier system where at the top is motivation. So motivation is what kickstarts it all. Motivation is what might get you off the sofa that one time. Motivation, usually esoteric, I think that's how you say it. External motivation. Like you might watch one of those Tony Robbins videos, or you might watch a Dan Pena video, and you might watch a video on YouTube where it's like, I really need to get in shape. That's what triggers the first kind of thing. Then into the next layer, you've got discipline. So the thing that gets you off the sofa, now discipline is the thing that makes you go for the run, like staying disciplined. But motivation is temporary, very, very temporary. Discipline is also, I believe, temporary. When things get hard, discipline can sometimes slip, just by human nature.
Really? But for the definition itself, discipline.
Yeah, but nobody is 100% disciplined. Ever. You could take the most successful man in the world. He is not disciplined 24/7. I guarantee it.
But he's disciplined.
But he's more disciplined than someone else. But that's a skill you can work on.
Yeah.
That's a skill you can work on. But understanding you're never going to be always disciplined. And then the bottom of the pyramid, the base of everything, the most long-term solution, habits.
Fucking knew it.
There we go.
I didn't even know what this tier 3. I could guess it straight off the bat. But as you were saying that, when you said the top tier is tier 3 is motivation. I think
a bit like a pyramid.
I know a lot of people that they'll have a moment of motivation, but the discipline will not follow.
Yeah.
They may get inspired by, I don't know, a sporting event like a boxing fight or a football. I don't know. They'll have something to kick them off and like, yeah. I'm gonna get in shape now. I'm gonna do this.
Mm-hmm.
To have the discipline, the next tier down is not easy, and that's the transition where people actually fail.
Mm-hmm.
Is they have that moment where they're like, yes, this is it. I'm gonna get in shape. Yeah, 2021. I'm gonna get in shape. This is gonna be my year.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck this. This is my year. But they don't have that discipline enough to keep it going.
So Dr. John DeMartini, who's a behavioral psychologist, he has this theory that the reason people are not disciplined in certain areas is because they don't value the task. So he says in any task that is of your highest value, you will not need discipline, and even when it gets hard, you will continue to strive towards that goal. So for some people, like, let's again relate it to health and fitness, you do not value your health and fitness enough. Maybe that's because you can't link it to what is your highest value. So I'd encourage everyone to head over to Dr. John DeMartini's website and try and figure out what are your highest.
Who is this guy? What is
so
he?
Dr. John Martini is
a
behavioral psychologist. I was first introduced to him by Mark Coles. His ideas, because Mark is he's an American guy. And he wrote a book called The Values Factor, and his idea is that those tasks that relate to your highest values. So when I'm talking values, I'm talking maybe for me, I think my highest value is health, the health of myself. So if I can link any task I'm doing to my health, then I'm able to kind of do it without as much discipline. Whereas something lower on my values, like I'm trying to think of something low in my values. Maybe, let's say money. Money's not even in my top 3. I'm less inclined when things get hard to thrive, to make money, to try and make money. So yes, in theory, if I studied finance or something like that, or investment banking and things like that, I can make a shit ton of money, right? But money's not important enough for me to go through the struggles of learning finance. Does that make sense? Yeah. Whereas learning about health and things like that doesn't require as much discipline, and when that gets hard, I carry on because health is of my highest value. So if for example health is not of your highest value, which is fine, it doesn't need to be, understand how it could link to your highest value. So maybe your highest value is spending time with your family and being fit and healthy with your family. Let's say you have a child. Therefore, being healthy means A, you're able to spend more time with your child in terms of elongating your lifespan. But B, also the time you spend with your child is going to be better quality. You don't want to be the parent who is getting out of breath when they're playing in the park with their child and they have to say, "Oh, sorry, Timmy, like I can't anymore." Like, you're then reducing the quality time you're spending with your child versus the parent who is fit, healthy, can race with his son or her son or daughter, can play in the park, no problem, can teach their child things. Like, it makes you a far better parent to be fit and healthy. So even though health might be lower in your values, because being a great parent is higher in your values, or being there for your family is higher in your values, you're able to therefore be more disciplined with your health because you link it to your family. So what the reason I bring this up is for people to find a way to link health and fitness to your highest values. Let's give another example. Your value might be your business, being a great entrepreneur, being a great businessman, being a great worker. Guess what? You're healthy and fit. You take care of your sleep. You take care of your nutrition. You're going to be operating at a much higher level than the individual who is not taking care of those things. Therefore, your health, working out, getting whatever your steps in, getting your nutrition right, getting your sleep right is going to help with that productivity, which is going to link to your highest value, which is being the best person in your job or advancing your career. Let's go for a third example.
It depends on the person. It always depends on the person.
Yeah, I think always,
so. Because there's some people who are like, all right, they're just so focused down with work. I'm just imagining like a workaholic, like someone who's a workaholic, and like, I just ain't got time. I'm gonna provide with money. I'm gonna provide my family with money. How would you get that person into linking?
But then Dr. John DeMartini would say they do not. If they're unable to link that, they do not actually value their business as much as they say they do, because if they did, they would do the health stuff which would progress their business. If they're unable to see how that progresses their business, then maybe they're not as dedicated to their business as they say they are. So Dr. John DeMartini would argue that this individual, their highest value isn't actually their business, if that makes sense.
Makes sense.
So 2021, let's get back onto it. Most people fail their New Year's resolutions in the first 90 days. Mm-hmm. That's kind of statistically correct, I believe.
Yeah. It is. I think everyone knows it. I think it's just one of those things that everyone knows, that everyone, like, people know that they're gonna make the resolutions, they kind of already know that they're not even gonna make it. There's a lot of that.
100%.
There's a lot of that.
So let's round off the episode, I think, with 3 actions the individuals can take that will help them to stick to their New Year's resolutions this year and help them achieve, greatness in 2021.
Baby step it.
Baby step it. Number 1.
Baby step it.
Behavior change is all about small steps, small actionable things that are going to take the least amount of energy for you to perform, and then you gradually build and build and build, and that's going to help work on the skill of discipline, isn't it?
For sure.
Number 2, you got a second advice?
Baby step it. Set your goals clear. Set them.
Yeah, great point.
Set them really clear. Have it very pinpoint. So for example, I wanna lose whatever, I don't know, 5 kilos by, I don't know, in 2 months or whatever.
Okay.
And as well, make it reasonable. I think what most people do, they make it very unreasonable. They want to have some celebrity body in a month.
Yeah. And
I think that's what normal, when I say normal people, I mean people that are not in the fitness world.
Right.
I'm talking about your average Joe.
Right.
The average person. The average person thinks, they might be very naive and think, okay, I can get in shape quick. I'm gonna go hard. I'm gonna go really, really hard. Go crazy with it. You have to set your goals, but they have to be measurable, and they also have to be specific. Get specific with your goals, and make sure everything you're doing on a weekly basis sets you up to achieve your goals.
Would you suggest an individual writes down their goals?
100%. 100%. I have my goals written down. I have my goals written down on the board. I have my goals written down on my phone. I have my affirmations on my phone. I've actually got my friend into affirmations. He's loving it right now. It just keeps you focused.
Do you so with the affirmations, are they different to your goals, or?
They are. So you have a goal and you have an affirmation to go along with that goal.
Okay.
So it's just a great way of staying focused. Nothing has kept me more focused than doing my affirmations. I've been doing it for about 3 months now, maybe 4 months actually.
So just for the viewers, what would you give as an example of your affirmation?
An affirmation would be, so say you have a goal of I don't know, getting in shape or having a 6-pack or something. Then Then your affirmation would be, I feel great and love having 6-pack abs.
Okay.
You have to put emotive language with that goal.
Okay.
So that's an affirmation.
So give another example as well, just so they can get super clear.
Let me just see my ones. So you have to use emotive language, and this is a lot of people have said this, and there's actually, the more I've delved into this, it's more about you talking to your subconscious mind.
Okay.
This is actually really interesting. So if you look at Hindu, I think it's Hindu priests or gurus in India, and they do meditation. They have these beads, and they'll every morning they'll repeat to themselves 112 times, I am happy, I am happy, I am happy, I am happy. And it's not that they are they're saying it and then to believe it. It's they're tricking their subconscious mind to believe, oh, I am a happy person. So just repeating. That's the idea with affirmation and your goals. You're repeating it again and again and again and again, and it keeps you laser beam focused. I say mine every morning, every evening, and it's made the biggest difference.
So do you know the reason behind the emotive language?
It's to get you to feel. To get you feeling, because you can have a goal, but there's no feeling attached to that just goal. You write down your goal. There's no emotive language. There's nothing that you feel when you do your affirmations. It's you're talking as if it's me 1 year from now, and it's I love being this ripped. I love being here professionally. I love having these type of relationships with my friends.
Okay, that's really interesting. And third point, have you got one? I can jump in if you need to. So I would say provide yourself with accountability. So whether that's a friend, whether that's an expert in the field you're trying to improve in. So the comment, I'm not trying to say come and sign up to PT with me, but provide if that's
but that's a big thing that we do, though. That, you have to think about it. That's a big thing that we do. Accountability
is you know, if you've got something,
mega.
If you've got someone that does not value their health, then guess what? They find someone who does value their health even more so than they do. You know, that's a common thing. Like
that's how I feel.
I value the health of my clients more than they value their own health,
yeah.
which is an incredibly powerful resource to have that, you know, local to you, have someone holding you accountable, whether you want to grow in business, whether that's hiring a business coach, whether that's just having a friend. Like I think me and Daniel hold each other quite accountable a lot of the time. Like
100%.
You know, saying, bro, we're not working hard enough.
Yeah,
we need to do this.
We're not going in enough. We need to do this podcast.
Yeah. So if it's finding like-minded people to surround yourself with.
That's a good one. Having like-minded people around you. So that's another thing that I've had with a client recently. It's like she's been trying to spend more time with her motivated friends that want to stay healthy than the friends that don't want to.
Yeah.
And that's big key. She's noticed a huge difference.
Okay.
And I think as well for me and you.
Yeah, 100%.
For me and you, 100%. Like you want to be surrounded by people that are on the same path as you.
Yes.
And that are as motivated as you are as well. So you want to be surrounded by lions. You want to be on the path to victory, but you don't want to surround yourself with people that are not motivated, you know, that don't have the same ambitions as you do. So I think that's key.
I heard this on a podcast yesterday, actually, so I'm just relaying information here, but they said you want to be surrounded with one person who is ahead of you on the path. Yeah, one person who's
on level,
and one person below you. So the person above you can guide you, can teach you. The person next to you can hold you accountable, keep you motivated, and make sure you're doing the right things. And the person below you gives you an opportunity to teach, gives you an opportunity to kind of reaffirm everything that you've learned along the path.
And you find when you teach, you learn more.
100%.
Like when you're teaching, you'll know this as a personal trainer, but when you're teaching, it just makes you like, okay, you need to go over the foundation.
Yeah, you have to think on it on a different level, right? Yeah. But they'll say that all the time. Anyway, I think that's everything those are our top 3 points.
All right, are we done?
So I hope in 2021 you can start to set some goals, write them down. Maybe you're looking to get into affirmations. We'll be out with a podcast again pretty shortly.
We'll be out next week.
Yeah,
100%.
At least I think we could probably smash.
We'll probably be going once a week. Easy.
At least.
This isn't hard.
So if you did enjoy it, press a thumbs up on the YouTube.
Let me know. Message me.
Yeah, message us. Let us know if you enjoyed it. Genuinely, it does mean a lot to us. Even if it's constructive criticism, but just don't message me saying it's shit. Thank you.
No, message me and tell me it's shit.
But tell me why it's shit.
No,
don't just tell me it's shit.
Tell me it's shit.
Okay. On that note, ciao.
Ciao. I would.